Hi everyone, it's Steven, and today I'm doing a book review! Just as a beginner's note, the book I'm reviewing and suggesting today is intended for more adult audience, so there are some adult themes in there, so if you do read, you have been warned. Today I am going to be reviewing The Magicians by Lev Grossman. Quentin Coldwater is brilliant but miserable. A high school math genius, he's secretly fascinated with a series of children's fantasy novels set in the magical land called Fillory, and real life is disappointing by comparison. When Quentin is unexpectedly admitted to an elite secret college of magic, it looks like his wildest dreams may have come true. But his newfound powers lead him down a rabbit hole of hedonism and disillusionment, and ultimately to the dark secret behind the story of Fillory. The land of his childhood fantasies turns out to be much darker and more dangerous than he could have imagined. According to the book, that is what The Magicians is about. This is a very well-written and engaging story filled with a lot of well-written and well-developed characters, well-paced action, and plot. A lot of reviews compare it to like a darker Harry Potter or a darker Narnia and stuff, and while it does combine both elements of like magic from Harry Potter and going, through unusual objects to different worlds from Narnia, I would say it's more of a darker, twisted version of Narnia rather than Harry Potter. Harry Potter is a children's novel, it's intended as such, while The Magicians takes itself very seriously. It is meant to be a fantasy novel for older adults. That's how it's presented, that's how it is. It is an adult's novel. The main character, Quentin, is enamored with, the Narnia of his world, Fillory. And when he graduates high school, he gets accepted into Brakebills, the magical academy. And, through many, many adventures, he finds out that Fillory is real, but it is not as, it is not a happy place as the books, Fillory and Further, portray it. All in all, I really enjoyed the book. If you're an older reader, I would definitely suggest you read this. It's a very good book. It has been turned into a TV series. Season 1 is now on Sci-Fi and Netflix, and Season 2 is premiering January 25th, 2017. Thus ends my non-spoilery review of The Magicians. Next up is my discussion of the book, which is going to be very spoilery, so do not watch anymore until you have read The Magicians, okay? Goodbye, non-spoilery people. Goodbye. Are they gone yet? I think they're gone. Awesome. Okay, first off I want to say about this book, I actually really like the mechanics of the magic. Here, magic is this big combination of hand gestures and then languages from all over the world. Magic isn't just one set of spells that everyone uses. I also enjoyed that there didn't really exactly seem to be, in the book that I could tell, there didn't exactly seem to be a price or a toll to pay for magic that much. Of course, as you get to book 2, and we learn more about Julia, she did pay a humongous price for magic that she learns to wield. But for Quentin, in a more controlled environment, it's not like there's an obvious energy drain every time he needs to cast a spell, so we can only cast a limited number of spells. That was a problem that the inheritance cycle magic faced, was that spellcasters could really only do a certain number of spells unless they had stored energy, because magic took energy. Here, in one part of the book, Quentin travels from a school in the South Pole and takes like a week's journey, and he is sustained by magic. He keeps a bunch of spells running that strengthen him, that keep him warm, all that stuff, and he could keep those spells running as long as he stayed focused, basically. It says in the book that, he might have died from starvation, but the spells would have kept propelling his body forward, which means that magic doesn't need, like, living energy to work, exactly. I also like the way that, I kind of hit on this, I like the way that magic is gesture-oriented instead of wand-oriented, because if you lost your wand in a place like Harry Potter, you're kind of screwed. You aren't able to cast spells at all. So if you lose your wand, you're defenseless. In this book series, in this world, you're pretty much always able to do magic as long as you can keep a clear head, you can stay focused, and you remember exactly what you're supposed to do. If you watch the TV series, they have a really cool way of doing magic where it's like this version of something called finger tutting or finger dancing. It's really cool, it's really pretty, and I just love that visual interpretation of what was in the books. Quick note, I did watch the TV show before I read the books, which is really unusual for me, but I did. And it's giving me an interesting perspective on the books. I am going to be doing like a review on the TV show versus the book later on, so stay tuned for that. In the book, we are introduced to a large cast of characters, but the story mainly focuses on Quentin. There are several characters in there they're pretty important, but they're not as well developed. There's one character named Penny, who is the one who eventually introduces Quentin to Fillory. And he's only used like once or twice in a major way. Once when he gets into a fight with Quentin for some reason, and then the other time when he barges into Quentin after they graduated and says, "Hey, Fillory's wheel, come with me." So, for such an important character, there wasn't that much development for him, which I was a little surprised about. Which, if you watch the TV show, you'll understand. After they graduated, I was really sad to see the dynamic between Alice and Quentin fall apart. You know, after they had met Alice's parents and they saw, what happens to magicians after school where they're eventually just became purposeless. Alice makes Quentin promise, we'll never be like that. And as soon as they graduate, break bills and go off into the real world, that's what happens. They kind of fall apart. They're not the power couple they used to be. And I was really sad to see happen, and I really enjoyed the writing of that because I really felt like, oh, Quentin, you are screwing this up. One thing that was also really important to note in the books was Janet brought a gun to Fillory. There was this whole big discussion about that where, don't bring those weapons to Fillory because, Fillory is a pure world. Humans shouldn't really screw up an already pure environment. Janet brings a gun to Fillory, uses it multiple times, and then it's never really brought up ever again. That was made to be such a big issue, which I'm surprised that after she did it, it became a non-issue. I thought, there would have been more effects, maybe not immediate, maybe as I progress and finish off the books, I'll see more effects to that, but I don't see what was the point in making it a big deal if it eventually wasn't a big deal. Also, I felt like they used their catamons, or the demons in their back, way too soon when they were fighting their way to the crown. I mean, I guess I would do the same thing, freaked out by all the things coming and attacking me, but, I swear, they all just used their catamons in that moment. Alright, now that I'm getting near the end of the book. The final battle really made me just tense. It was so well written. Eventually, everyone gets knocked out, thrown around, almost killed, until it's basically Alice versus Martin. And that battle was incredible. We finally got to see Alice in her full form, her just, using all of her magic knowledge and almost defeating Martin. It was just incredible. I loved that part in the book. Also, I was surprised that Martin died in this book. I guess because I've watched the series before I read the books, I wasn't expecting that. But Martin actually dies here. He's not a continuing villain. He's kind of like the White Witch in Narnia, where she's a one-time problem. They just have to face a new problem every time they come back, which I actually enjoyed. It was kind of, nice to, it's like, okay, they met a challenge, it's down, it's not coming back. I did enjoy that. It was an adventure getting to that point. So many feelings. And after Martin died, Alice died. Alice got turned into a Niffin. She used so much magic that she was literally burned up by magic. So I guess there is a cost to magic. But I was a shocker, and again, because I watched the TV show, I guess that kind of screwed things up for me. Oh well. And finally, Q gave up magic for I think they said it was for a year. Q was working an office job. Alright? I guess I could understand he went through some severe trauma, but still, giving up magic seems kind of extreme. Oh well. It all worked out in the end because Janet, Elliot, and Julia got him to come back and become a king of Fillory. Thus ends my kind of discussion-y point of The Magicians. Let me know what you thought of the book if you read it. Please comment below if there's any other books or series that you would like for me to review. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up and subscribe if you want to see more. Goodbye!